Today we're going to try a Punk IPA clone versus the original. This was kindly sent in from one of my patrons, Patrick Johansson. So Patrick tried to brew this clone and he had to change out one hop, so we're going to go through the recipe. The recipe for the Punk IPA is ordered out all over the web in the, I can link down to it below to the Brewdog Bible, and Patrick also sent in the recipe for this one. We can check that out also, and this recipe is already up on my Patreon site in the beer mail section. So let's get this puppy into a glass. I'm Dr. Hans, this is Dr. Hans Brewery. If you want to learn with me how to become better at beer and brewing, consider becoming a subscriber and do hit that little bell so you get notifications when I put out a new video. And of course, like the video, share and all of that. Patrick says that this came out better than the original, according to his friends. But yeah, he also writes on Tinder that he looks good according to his mom. So yeah, we're gonna take that with a grain of salt. Yeah, and before we start typing like crazy and smashing that thumbs down button, that was a joke, okay? So relax, have a home brew. Gonna try it. The original, and I put the original is a gusher. Patrick. The original is a gusher. Okay, Patrick, and this came from the refrigerator as it has been standing for a little while to come up to better temperature. But yeah, but the original is a gusher. Cool. And of course, Patrick, you sent a bigger bottle, so bonus for that. Patrick sent me a can of the Punk IPA King. Thank you very much. But you don't fool me. I found a fresher one, and it was a gusher. So maybe this video is ruined then. Hope it's not like, so it's now or never, we're doing in the video. Doesn't smell funny. It's not a gusher. I think it's from the cake, but I don't know, so it's low on carbonation, but I managed to build a little head there. Color-wise, it's not that close. This is the clone, this is the original. I'm not a super big fan of Punk IPA. I don't think it's bad, but yeah, it doesn't usually taste that much. But when we got here to Sweden, it has been standing for a long time. But I actually tried super fresh Punk IPA in London, and yeah, to me it doesn't taste really much, but it ain't a bad beer. Okay, so they are both slight hazy. This is much darker, and I'm going to talk about that also. When I started brewing, all my beers came out darker than supposed to, so I'm going to give you a tip about that also in the end, so hang in there. Do get some hops, graininess. It's a totally different smell. Sweeter. Could it be a bit oxidized? I will go for the original first. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know why it gushed. I didn't drop it or something like that. It has a little bite to it, but it doesn't scream of flavor as I remember it. So let's go for Patrick's. I think it do lacks. First off, it lacks CO2 carbonation, and they are, to me, they're not even close, Patrick, to be a clone. And this is a little sweeter. It doesn't have like the body, but I think that comes from the alcohol. Sorry, from the carbonation in this one. To me, that's more like an English style beer, because yeah, it's a little sweeter, it's flatter. I think it needs little more hops. I'm sorry, but if I'm I have to stick to the original here, and I really hope that yours will be better. But yeah, I need to be like fair. I do get more like a fresher punch from the Brewdog Punk IPA, and then from the clone. This was of course like shipped by mail, so yeah, we could lose some and could get some oxidized. I don't know if you can see from the color, so we could have darkened the beer and could have lost some flavors there, and also like the sweetness can come from that, so it could be that. I try to do these videos as soon as possible, especially with the hoppy beers, but I have been of course storing it cold. Let's go through the recipe, and yeah, I also promise to give you an advice about the color, but the color also in this case could come from oxidization, which can make the beer darker. So if you, Patrick, know anything, please comment down below about that. Let's have a look at the recipe. Hold on, I can do better than that. This is Editing Doctor from the future. I made a rough cut of this video, send it over to Patrick to get his words on the beer I actually drank that day. So in the end we will come back and we will look at Patrick's comments and we will sort all of this out. And when I have you here, I also want to give a big shout out to BrewGoat, today's sponsor. BrewGoat is a Swedish homebrew supplier with a physical store here in Stockholm, Sweden, but they ship all over Europe. And as this video goes out, they are just about to get their big order from Cake King. So if you want to snatch yourself a Fermented King Junior to impress your friends or something else, go and check them out. First link in the description. Back to the doctor, and I'll see you back here and we will go through Patrick's comments in the end. Cheers! 95% of extra pale ale and 5% of Cara Munich. That's 6 kilos and 338 grams of Cara Munich. 6 kilos of pale ale, sorry. There was a lot of hops in this. At 60 minutes he used Chinook, and 45 minutes he used Centennial. And the Centennial was like the hop he had to change out for the... what was the name of that hop? I do have Patrick's letter here. Autumn hops was replaced by Centennial. So let's go through the hops list again because I messed it up. 60 minutes, 23.8 grams of Chinook. 45 minutes, 8.1 grams of Centennial. 20 minutes, 20.2 grams of Chinook, that's exact. 20 minutes, also 8.1 grams of Centennial. This is for a 27 liter batch size. Can be good to know. Then he used a hop stand at 80C for 50 minutes. He used 37.1 grams of Chinook, 16.9 grams of Nelson Sauvin, 16.9 grams of Simcoe, and 8.1 grams of Centennial. This was dry hopped, according to this, for 7 days, with 64.1 grams of Chinook, 50.7 grams of Cascade, the same amount of Simcoe, 27 grams of Nelson Sauvin, 23 grams of Centennial, 13.5 grams of Amarillo, Wise Labs American Ale, 1056, yes. This was fermented in the Firmzilla under pressure. So we fermented it hot, but yeah, that's no issue. You added dry hops on the second day after fermentation started, okay. Mash temperature 65C 60 minutes, 75C 10 minutes for mash out. His brew house efficiency is 75% of this. I think that's it for this recipe. I will also link to the original recipe down below. Doctor, can you please link to the recipe down below? Okay, for the Brewdog Bible. Thank you. Okay, we're going to talk about beer color. Let's pour some more. So, this was fermented under pressure. That means that this is not bottle conditioned. But we need to look into the way you bottle your beer, Patrick. Because I think that we lost a lot of carbonation, and this bottle can suffer from oxidization. So we need to look into that, really. As more it heats up, I also get some like hints of like ash. I can get that from some hops, but I do get like a jammy taste to it. So I think I'm sadly to say that the beer has been oxidized. But please tell us about the color. But I promise to talk about beer color also. When I started homebrewing, I listened and I read how to do things, and I did as I was told. And after a while, I started to like figure out that maybe I shouldn't. So I have been questioning everything, experimenting with everything here on the channel. And if you have been subscribed for long, you know I like to do some experiments. If you're new here, you can go backwards and watch some old videos also. Not the first ones, please. When I started brewing, I was told that you need like a massive rolling boil, but you don't really. When I stopped doing the massive rolling boil, my brewing system does like 2,500 watts, and I use 1,800 watts now after I'm up to like temp. Because the only thing you're doing with a massive rolling boil and the elements like going really hot, you get more that Maillard reaction, so you get like more caramel, you get a much darker beer, and you oxidize the beer more during the boil. So when I stop that and just like simmer for 60 minutes, like DMS, it ain't hard to get rid of. You don't need that massive rolling boil. When I stopped doing that, I actually got the colors more like the beer calculator said it was going to be. So if you find that your beers are getting darker than the beer calculator says, turn down that element. And you also, yeah, it's good for the environment. So try it out. You don't need that massive rolling boil. Just a slow simmer for 60 minutes, and maybe you could go, I know people are doing like 30 minutes boil, but I haven't tried that with a slow simmer, so yeah, I won't really go there, because I want to know what I'm talking about, not like mimic other. I'm so sorry, Patrick, but I do prefer the original, but yeah, we might have some issues there. Look for Patrick's comment down below. We will sort this out there. Okay, back from the future. This has nothing to do with anything today, maybe another day. Yeah, I made the Neapolitan style pizza on that one. Do you want to see that video? Comment down below. Okay, so I had to go to Systembolaget and buy another punk to keep with the theme. Will it be a gusher? No, it won't. So I I read Patrick's comments, and according to his friends and himself, the color was very near, or some said that they couldn't really tell it apart from the original. I don't know if they tried it side by side, but obviously that means that, which I suspected, and yeah, that beer has gone bad from oxidization, and it was the way that Patrick bottled the beer. Could also be the way he kegged, but I know this was fermented under pressure, so I'm quite sure that he made a seal transfer. But if you had air in the keg, you would have some splashing there also. And that can introduce oxygen, that will introduce oxygen. So when kegging, you really need to get all of the oxygen out, and the best way to do that is to fill up your keg with sanitizer and push it all out with CO2 before doing the seal transfer. And regarding bottling, I do have a video down below how I bottle with no like fancy stuff, but really to get the most air out of my beer. And I've shipped hoppy beers abroad and they have been fine. So you can go and check out that video. We'll drop a link down in the description also for that video. I do have a planned video about bottling for home brewers, sending beer to other home brewers. Sending beers, it's not cheap, not here in Sweden and not if you're sending them abroad. So, and of course, you put a lot of work into that beer and into the bottling. So yeah, you really want the beer to come to the receiver fresh as possible. Massive change there in color, and yeah, most of the flavors were gone and starting to get like a sweet tone out of it. And if I would have left it longer, the beer had been even more oxidized. Patrick also mentioned in his notes that after watching my video, he has stopped boiling his wort with the max capacity of his brewing system, which is 2,500 watts, and gone down to 1,600 watts. And he had the same experience that I have, that now his beer aren't coming out darker than they should. So yeah, really do try that. Pro tip, guys. If you haven't already, consider becoming a subscriber. Do hit that little bell so you get notifications when I put out a new video, and like this video and share and all of that. Cheers and thanks for watching. DrHans out. Yeah, I said that I prefer the original, so come on.